So today I'm going to take my SRAM DUB crank off and I'm going to replace the chainring from a 30 that I have on to a brand new 32 tooth. Now the tools I'm going to use are pretty basic. Of course, I have the chainring. In this case, that frame is an older frame with a quick release rear and non-boost. So I have the 6mm offset. If you have a boost frame, you will have to buy a 3mm offset chainring for it. And the chainring does include the new bolts that are going to attach it to the crank arm. You will also need an 8mm hex to remove the crank arm, a torque wrench with a T25 Torx bit, and this particular set includes that bit. And right about there should be appearing a link where you can buy this torque wrench, which I found on sale for I think it was $30, and it's been excellent so far. And then you want a ratchet to remove the old bolts, because you do not want to use your torque wrench to remove the bolts. You never remove bolts with a torque wrench. Now on this stub SRAM crankset, the NX in this case, this is a self-extracting bolt, so you do not need a crank puller to remove it. Now, I did take the bike off the stand in order to loosen that up. It's tightened at 54 Newton meters. That's right there, the specs. But this is kind of unstable. So what I did is I took it off the stand, set it on the floor. I put a broomstick through here to stabilize the other crank arm so it wouldn't turn. So I stabilized it with a broomstick, and then I took a breaker bar with an 8mm and loosened it up. It was pretty tight. So that's a little tip on how to loosen this. Now that it's loosened, I put it back on the stand, and then we can just rotate this counterclockwise and it will self-extract. So I put some gloves on so I wouldn't get bitten by the chainring. I got my T25 and we're going to remove the bolts. And these are only tightened between 8 to 9 Newton meters, so these should come out pretty easy. Yeah, they're not bad to turn at all. And it comes right off. So now my crank arm is nice and clean, and the chainring itself only goes in one way to line up with the holes. So like this. And you can verify that the SRAM logo is right up top. Okay, so they're the SRAM and the eagle, and that's what it's going to look like. It only, like I said, it only lines up one way. Make sure you use the new bolts that came with your chainring, and we're going to hand tighten those all the way around. So I set my torque wrench right at 8 Newton meters. It says between 8 and 9. And we're going to tighten. I like to go ahead and kind of tighten all the way around. Like, it hasn't clicked yet, but I can feel resistance. So there. There and there. All right, a quick tip, don't forget to set your torque wrench back to 0 before you store it. Now we just have to put that back on. Now to put it back on, just put it back on, tighten it to 54 Newton meters, and you are set. So it's that easy. Now I'm going to keep this crankset off because, just a little heads up, tomorrow I have a new bike arriving, and I'm going to put most of the components on my Venso, including my 12-speed drivetrain, on that new bike. It's a Walmart bike, so I bought it mostly just for the frame, so we'll see how that goes. So if this was helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe. Thanks for watching.